Hi, and welcome to Anne's Family Recipe. Today I'm making a Nutcracker-inspired cheese board. Now, of course, one of the key elements that I needed was a nut. So I decided to make my Aunt Dorothy's Candied Pecan recipe. So I'm showing you all the steps here kind of quickly because I have a full recipe video for this, which I will link in the description box below. But I bought a huge bag of pecans at Costco, and then I sweeten them up with cinnamon and sugar. You toss them in some egg whites so they get nice and crispy and crunchy when you bake them in the oven. And these are so fabulous. Definitely a crowd pleaser. The Nutcracker Ballet is very near and dear to my heart. I grew up taking hours and hours of ballet lessons, and throughout middle school I participated in the Nutcracker Ballet in various scenes in the first and second act. So I thought this would be the perfect tribute to one of my favorite ballets. One of my favorite parts of the Nutcracker Ballet is the second act, where Clara and her Nutcracker Prince go to the land of sweets, and you have tea and coffee and the candy canes, the sugar plum fairy, a cast of characters that have all of these incredible foods associated with them. So I found this pepperoni marinara that I thought would represent the candy canes really well in a savory way because it had the red and the white. My initial inspiration for this cheese board were these two cheeses, the Earl Grey and the coffee encrusted cheeses. It's an artisanal white cheddar cheese with a flavorful coating around the edge. These were both very good. The coffee was absolutely my favorite. And then, of course, a wheel of brie cheese. Of course, all of the cheeses can represent the mice, but especially that classic brie cheese on a cheese board. To me, that was the mouse king. Now, I needed something to appear like snowflakes on my cheese board, so I decided to create these Parmesan crisps. It's a Giada De Laurentiis recipe. All you're doing is spooning tablespoonfuls of shredded Parmesan cheese onto a silicone baking mat, and then you bake them at 400 degrees for about 3 to 5 minutes until the cheese melts. It's going to be nice and bubbly and look kind of lacy, which was the perfect effect to look like a snowflake, and it'll be slightly brown around the edges. And once these cooled completely, they come very, very easily off of that silicone mat, and then I just arrange them onto my cheese board. In the second act, there's also a character called Mother Ginger, so I knew I wanted to have this sparkly crystallized ginger on my cheese board. And I think it's always nice to include some sweet dried fruits, so of course I chose prunes, which are dried plums, to represent the sugar plum fairy. My daughter loves anything peppermint, so I wanted to have a sweet candy cane on the cheese board as well. So these are peppermint pretzel stars. They're covered in white chocolate and then covered in crushed candy canes, and everybody loved these. I was bound and determined to represent every character from that second act of the Nutcracker, and there's the flutes dance, which is also known as Marzipan. I do not really like marzipan, but I found this small candy bar at my Aldi grocery store. Marzipan is a creamy almond paste, so this candy bar was chocolate-coated marzipan with a hazelnut praline filling. Before I assembled my cheese board, I wanted to heat up my brie, so I just unwrapped the entire wheel and then wrapped it in aluminum foil and placed it in my oven, which had other food baking in it at 350 degrees. So I just tucked it in a corner and left it in there for about 15 to 20 minutes until the inside of the cheese wheel had gotten nice and melty and oozing. That is the best way to serve brie. While the brie baked, I used the container as a little placeholder on my cheese board, and then I started assembling everything around it. So I had a little bowl of apricot jam. There's my crystallized ginger that I'm placing right now. I had the candied pecans, the peppermint stars, and just for something kind of salty, I did put a little dish of green olives that had garlic cloves in them. Those were delicious. There's my sugared plums or my dried prunes. And here I'm arranging my Parmesan crisps. So next I had this incredible Italian salami from Costco. It comes in a 3-pack. There's a very spicy black pepper crusted salami, and then I took that pepperoni marinara cheese and layered it with a red wine salami, kind of in a candy cane fashion, just to mimic those red and white candy cane stripes. And then I placed my 2 bricks of Earl Grey and coffee cheese, and once the guests arrived, I did slice a few pieces off of those bricks of cheese just so it'd be easier for my guests to eat. Then you see the Marzipan candy bar that I chopped up in the back corner, and then lots and lots of crackers for all the cheeses. I remember as a little girl watching the Nutcracker, one of my favorite moments that I thought was so magical was when the Christmas tree grows and grows and grows until it is floor to ceiling on the giant stage. So I used some little sprigs of rosemary to represent that Christmas tree. And then I found these super cute candies at Aldi again. They were just very delicious chocolates, but some were wrapped like nutcrackers and some were wrapped like little angels, which is also a character at the beginning of the second act when they arrive at the Land of Sweets. So I added my brie that was hot out of the oven, and here is my finished Nutcracker Cheese Board. I wanted to show you here how you serve the brie. You can eat the rind, you don't have to because it is ever so slightly bitter, but I enjoy it because it pairs so well with that apricot jam. You can set out any kind of jelly that you want because it just works so well with this creamy brie cheese. To represent the Waltz of the Flowers, I made myself a floral cocktail. So I started with a glass of Prosecco, which is a sparkling white wine, and I topped it off with about a tablespoon of elderflower liqueur. I use the Saint Germain brand, but it has this beautiful floral aroma and taste. So it sweetened it up slightly and just made for the perfect cocktail. And I garnished it with another little sprig of rosemary. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram at Anne's Family Recipe, and give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw here today. Thank you so much for joining me in my kitchen, and I'll see you again soon with another family recipe.